Today, we're talking about part 2 of Fanatical's Backstage Mystery Bundle. Let's get into it. Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Adrian Reddix, and today we're talking about our second part of Fanatical's Backstage Mystery Bundle. If you don't know, these bundles come with 10 mystery games. You don't know what you're going to get, and the cost is $6.99. So what I do is I go get these games and play them for 30 to 40 minutes a piece and give you my review and what I think of these games. If you hadn't seen the first part, it's here and in the description below. The sixth game of this bundle, the first game of this video, is a game called Root. Not the cool board game turned video game. This is a hacker slash sleuth slash FPS game. If you don't know the hacker trope, it's a whole bunch of games where you are the hacker and you have to hack into the system, meaning that you have to fight enemies or defenses or antivirus. You are a hacker in the real world. The tutorial on this is long. There's a lot of reading. Usually when you have games that have a lot of reading, they didn't have enough money for voice acting. I don't know if this is the case, but it's a lot of reading. It's a lot of blues and blacks and grays, and it's kind of muted. And the only things that are a different color that you can spot real easily are the enemies. The enemies are red. How you kill the enemies or disable the enemies, it's weird. You have a billy club or a gun in the beginning, so you have to sneak up behind them and pop them in the head with the billy club, or you shoot them with a gun. The gameplay is mushy. Like it's not refined. It's kind of choppy, and the movements of your player and the movements of the enemies are ridiculous. Another ridiculous thing is the enemies sense you from so far away, and there's no cooldown period. You know how in some sleuth games, you're supposed to be able to pique an interest, and then if they don't see anything, it calms down. The interest is peaked so fast. So you could be 2 rooms away and they'll hear you if you're not sneaking. There's no shadows that you can sneak around. There's no real, it's not a sleuth game. At best, it's a first-person shooting, crouching game. It's the only thing I don't know. If you do too much shooting, they all just kind of just run towards you. It's not a really well thought out game. It's not a real refined game. It just feels like something's missing. It's, I hate to use it, but clunky. It's not an enjoyable game at all. On Steam, this game got a 7 out of 10. The cost is $9.99, and I'm gonna give it a 1.5 out of 5. It's a game. I'm not into the first-person sleuth hacker genre, but this is probably the first-person sleuth hacker genre. I've played hacker FPS, but not with the sleuth element to it, and I don't think it was well executed here. The next game is a game called ATV Drifts and Tricks. This is an ATV racing game. Now, this is one of the most frustrating games to play on a keyboard, which usually isn't a problem because you can rebind your keys. What's rebinding? That means you could take whatever the default key is. Let's say W is to run forward and you want it to be J for some odd reason. You can go into the settings and change it from W to J. This doesn't have that option. So let's look at how infuriating it is to play this game. So on this game, Z is to accelerate, which that's odd. I hadn't not seen that before. That's fine. Z is usually like to brake, but whatever. You brake with S, you turn left with Q, you turn right with D. That's right. Z, S, Q, D. What? So you're playing it like this to go forward, then you, it's You have to use two hands for 4 buttons. The layout is ridiculous. And then you have wheelies with left shift, and if you want to throw a trick out there when you're in the air, it's F. The game seems like it's missing something. It's missing that oomph that a racing game has, some excitement, or it's just, to me, it looks like a game that was meant for like a handheld that it just ported again and again and again and didn't think about how that game would play on a different device. Seems like the game is meant for a specific type of hardware, and then they were like, hey, let's just port and give you this game. And if you look at the reviews on Steam, you will see that there's two camps to this. One, the people who don't like it because of the gameplay and the mechanics. Two, the people who do like it is because this game reminds them of something else, which that is a problem. If this game reminds you of something else, it doesn't do a good job of distinguishing itself from other games. A lot of the reviews are like, oh, this reminds me of this ATV game on Xbox or this ATV game on this other system. But nobody ever said, oh, I really like this game because it did X, Y, and Z well. And I have to agree, they don't do anything well. It's a ATV racing game. Nothing more, nothing less. Well, maybe less. On Steam, this game got a 6 out of 10. The cost is $14.99, and I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 5. It's a game. It's a ATV racing game. There's nothing significant about it. If this game reminds you of something that you used to play and it gives you that nostalgia factor, go for it. But if you're looking for an exciting ATV racing game, this isn't it. The next game is a game called Cook, Serve, Delicious 2. Now, in our previous video, we discussed the first game in this series. This game starts off where the old game ended. Apparently, the building you were in got raided by the feds or something like that, and it got shut down. So you have to start all over again in a different building. The tutorial on this one is a little better. It's a little more extensive, and it teaches you a little more things than the tutorial in the first game. When you start this game, the gameplay and the mechanics are very similar to the first one. But to me, the beginning of this game is a more fleshed out game. I think they either, one, assume that you played the first game, or two, they want the player to have a more well-rounded experience. In the beginning, you get holding stations, and you have a little more recipes you can choose from. Again, I tried the simplest one. If you're not familiar with the game, it's a cooking simulator. So you are a chef and you have your own restaurant. Of course, just like every other chef, you may not have a lot of money in the beginning. So the offerings that you can offer and the settings in your restaurant as far as tables and chairs, things like that, aren't their best. So you're working your way up, you're scrapping your way up, you're pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. Each food item that you buy, of course, costs a certain amount to put it on your menu. You make a certain amount from it as far as profit. And it takes a certain set of things to do to make it. The way you make brownies is different from the way you make a hamburger, different from the way you make a steak. The beauty of this game is you have to create a menu that can complement each other so that you're not doing all your time cooking. You can have some things that you hold. You can have some things that are quick and have some things that are a little more complicated to make. So the more complicated it is to make, the more money you make on that item. So you have to, one, clean your restaurant, two, make items quickly because people will get impatient with you. And just like the previous game, you have 2 rush hours, one at lunch and one after work. Nothing's changed on that aspect. But the game seems to take what it did well in the first game and refine it and make this a little better. On Steam, this game got a 9 out of 10. The cost is $12.99, and I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. It is a really good game. It's that much better than the first game of this series, and I like it a whole bunch. The next game is a game called Showdown 2073. This game is let's let's break it down, okay? First of all, in the opening credits, what is this lady doing? I can't play the music because last time I played music with a game, I got a copyright claim. So I'm gonna play my own music that's not copyright claimable. This is dancing. That's dancing. What is she doing? Please sit down. So what is Showdown 2073? I think a reviewer on Steam's review page sums it up perfectly. It's FPS Pac-Man. When I read that, I giggled for a good 2 minutes. It was the most accurate thing. So you're playing this guy and you're trying to collect orbs. And while you're collecting orbs, you have different things like mechs and people trying to come and hit you or sneak up behind you and rub on you. I don't know. They never really show them, or I never saw them actually attack me. They sneak up behind me and take 20% of my health away. And then I have to go and blast them away. It has unlimited ammo. And yeah, you have a laser and you can shoot people, and that's really the game. To me, you're on a show, and it's kind of like you're a gladiator, not the American ones, the Roman ones. And you're trying to survive, and apparently it's the ultimate game or something like that, and you're trying to survive and entertain people at the same time, and it's kind of like a blood sport, I guess is the best way to put it. It just feels like this game isn't refined. It felt like it was an idea that somebody executed and they were going to go back to it to put more stuff in it, and they just never got around to doing that. But if you're into mindless fun and destruction, like the destruction aspect with the unlimited ammo that you can just chop people up with, that was really my favorite part, is I can just hold on the trigger button and just level things. People, turrets, walls, whatever. I can just chop things down and have a bunch of lasers bouncing off everything. It was very chaotic, and that was the only fun part of the game. It's just the destruction you can cause. But it's FPS Pac-Man is what it is. On Steam, this game got a 7 out of 10. The cost is $1.99, and I'm gonna give it a 2.5 out of 5. It's not the worst game I've played in this bundle, but it's not anything to write home about either. The last game of this bundle and the last game of this video is a game called Runner 3. Runner 3 is a side-scrolling platformer musical rhythm game. What does all that mean? So it is a side-scroller, all right, platformer, you know, you're jumping and all that other good stuff. Rhythm musical game. So there's music going on, and you hit these gold bars to hit a beat, and it's a rhythm that you go through. In the beginning, doesn't sound like it helps, but it helps a whole lot when you get to the more complicated areas of the level. You have to dodge, kick, float, slide your way through this world. You have different obstacles that you have to decide whether you're gonna jump, slide, kick, or whatever action to get over or through them. The art in this world is very eye-catching. It's very appealing. It's a very visually pretty game. I do like all the colors and the designs. It's a very well-designed game. You can operate different vehicles in this game like a airplane or a mine cart, and with each one of them you have to decide whether you're gonna fly or jump or duck or whatever you have over your different obstacles. This game in the beginning was a little weird. The story was a weird one. Overall, the game is an okay game. There's nothing to hate about the game. There's nothing that really sticks out other than the design. The design is a really good design. On Steam, this game got a 7 out of 10. The cost is $19.99, and I think I'm just gonna give it a 3 out of 5. It's a okay game. Let's see if we really got a good deal for our $6.99. Cook Serve Delicious, $9.99. Ballpoint Universe Infinite, $3.99. Per Chain, $7.99. Chime Sharp, $9.99. Grip Combat Racing, $29.99. Root, $9.99. ATV Drifts and Tricks, $14.99. Cook Serve Delicious 2, $12.99. Shadow 2073, $199. Runner 3, $19.99. And that gives us, let's go ahead and do this calculation real quick, a total of $121.90. We got a fantastic deal, but that's not my true value. My true value comes to games I would play again. So let's go ahead and add that up. Of the 10 games that I tried, I wouldn't play Chime Sharp. I wouldn't play Roots. I wouldn't play the ATV game, or, I don't know if I'd play that Shadow 2073. I don't think the replayability on that one is high for me. So if you take those 4 away, that gives us a total of $84.94. I think that's a fantastic deal. That's it. Thank you guys for joining me. If you like this type of video, give me a thumbs up. If you hate this type of video, give me a thumbs down and tell me why you didn't like this type of video. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one.